They think silence means you've surrendered. They think stillness is weakness. They're wrong. Silence is the blade you sharpen in the dark, the weapon they never see until it's too late. When you stop feeding your energy to the chaos, you strip away the illusions they built to keep you distracted. You start hearing something they can't. The sound of your own power breathing, growing, tightening its grip on the world around you. In that stillness, your mind becomes a fortress. You're not moved by provocation. You're not lured by praise. You study the patterns, the flaws, the tells, until their every move becomes predictable. That's when you strike, not with noise, but with precision. The kind of precision that leaves no doubt, no warning, and no chance for them to recover. Silence is not absence. It's preparation. It's control. It's the quiet before the kind of storm that reshapes everything it touches. And in that quiet, you stop being a piece on the board. You become the one moving the pieces. Comment below, I sharpen my power in silence. Let me see who understands this truth and who's still trapped in the noise. Number 1, the Machiavellian shift. Power doesn't shout. It watches. It studies. It waits. While they burn themselves out trying to prove their worth, you're in the shadows, mapping every weakness, every vanity, every desire they can't control. That's the Machiavellian edge, the discipline to see without being seen, to move without being noticed, until your influence is so deep they can't tell if their thoughts are theirs or yours. You don't fight for attention. You make attention fight for you. You don't argue for your place. You make them rearrange the room to fit you in. This is not arrogance. It's leverage. Cold, calculated leverage. And it only works when you master the art of patience, when you're willing to let others reveal themselves while you remain unreadable. Every careless word they speak, every petty reaction they give you, that's free intelligence. And intelligence, in the hands of a patient man, is more dangerous than any weapon. Number 2, cold psychological control. Control isn't about chains. Chains are obvious. They rattle, they drag, they make noise. Control is about threads, invisible, silent, almost weightless, yet strong enough to bind a mind completely. The most dangerous kind of control is the one they don't notice until it's far too late to escape. That's when you've already won. You don't demand obedience. Demands trigger resistance. Instead, you plant seeds, ideas so subtle they take root in silence. You water them with suggestion, indirect influence, and precision timing. And by the time they've grown, they'll swear those thoughts, those choices, those actions were their own. This is not manipulation in the cheap sense. This is architecture, building a mental structure in someone else's head and making them think they built it. Emotion has no place here. Anger clouds your judgment. Excitement gives you away. Desperation exposes your need. You strip it all out. What's left is pure calculation. Every reaction you give must serve a purpose, either to conceal your position or to advance it. You're not in a hurry. You let time work for you. And when the moment comes, you act with precision, so cold it feels inevitable. Here's the truth they never tell you. The man who cannot control himself will never control anything else. The moment your emotions dictate your moves, you've handed the board over to someone else. A cold mind is untouchable. It dictates the pace of the conversation. It decides the tone of the room. It shapes the battlefield so subtly that the opponent fights where you want, when you want, and how you want. Master yourself first. Become the man who can listen without reacting, observe without being seen, and act without warning. Because the one who controls himself controls the room. The one who controls the room controls the outcome. And the one who controls the outcome controls the future. Comment below. I pull the strings by controlling myself first. If those words resonate with you, then you're already thinking on a level most never reach. Number 3. The weaponization of silence. Silence is not absence. It's a loaded gun with no safety. Most people can't handle it. They rush to fill it with words, excuses, nervous laughter. That's when you win. You let the silence sit like a weight in the air, pressing down until they crack and reveal more than they intended. When you withhold your voice, you force others to hear their own. And that's dangerous, because people will confess to the quiet what they'd never admit to your face. They'll negotiate against themselves. They'll expose their insecurities. They'll tell you where to strike without you asking a single question. Silence shifts the balance of power without anyone noticing. It tells the room you're not desperate for approval, not in a hurry to be understood. It says you're secure enough to let others reveal themselves first. And once they do, you own the information, and information is leverage. But silence is only a weapon if you control it. You have to be comfortable with tension, immune to awkwardness, and patient enough to let discomfort do your work for you. Weak men break silence to relieve pressure. Strong men keep it, so the pressure works in their favor. Never forget, the less you speak, the more weight your words carry when you finally do. One sentence after a long pause can hit harder than an hour of talking. That's how kings speak. That's how rulers command. Number 4, patience as a weapon of inevitability. Patience is the rarest form of aggression. The world calls it passivity because the world is addicted to movement. But patience doesn't drift. Patience doesn't sleep. Patience stalks. It waits. Not because it's slow, but because it knows the moment will come when the opponent is weakest, distracted, or convinced they've already won. And when that moment arrives, patience strikes with the force of inevitability. Most men will never master this. Why? Because most men fear stillness. They need to move, to act, to do something, anything, to feel in control. They think activity equals progress. In truth, undisciplined action is nothing but wasted energy. It's noise. It's showing your hand before the game even starts. Impatience exposes you. It reveals your intentions. It telegraphs your fears. It leaks your strategy. And worst of all, it forces you into someone else's timing, their battlefield, their pace, their terms. Patience, on the other hand, turns all of that against them. While they burn themselves out in motion, you're gathering data, you're conserving strength, you're watching the storm pass, knowing you'll move when the winds shift in your favor. Understand this. Patience is not the absence of action, it's the refinement of it. It's the discipline to reject opportunities that are almost right and wait for the one that is perfect. You don't swing at every pitch. You wait for the slow, hanging ball right over the center, and when you strike, you do it with precision so brutal that there is no recovery. While you wait, you're not idle. You're studying patterns. You're learning tells, those micro-reactions, those small lapses in composure that betray a person's state of mind. You're watching who talks too much, who tries too hard, who is desperate to prove themselves. These are weaknesses that reveal themselves only to the patient eye, and once you've seen them, you can use them. Think of a chess master. He doesn't rush to checkmate. He lets the opponent make the moves that dig their own grave. He allows them to think they're winning. He lets them advance into positions that look strong but are secretly traps. And then, when every escape has been cut off, he closes the game with one move that feels inevitable, because it was inevitable from the beginning. Machiavelli understood this principle well. In The Prince, he made it clear, those who can bide their time and keep their intentions hidden control the tempo of the game. Wars have been won before the first arrow was fired, simply because one side waited for the other to overextend. Empires have been taken not through constant attack, but by letting the enemy exhaust themselves while the patient force preserved its strength. This is how power operates in reality. The impatient man plays the game. The patient man designs it. And the designer doesn't just win. He decides when and how the game ends. Patience also forces your opponent into emotional instability. People hate waiting. They hate uncertainty. They crave closure, clarity, resolution. By denying them that, you create pressure, and pressure leads to mistakes. They'll miscalculate, overcommit, or expose their hand just to break the tension. That's when you move, not before, not after, exactly then. Your patience should be so controlled that it becomes unnerving. When others expect you to react and you don't, they start to doubt themselves. When they try to provoke you and you remain still, they start to question their own strength. In their mind, your silence becomes evidence of your advantage, even if you have none, yet. This is the subtle intimidation of patience. And here's the deeper truth. Patience compounds. The longer you can maintain it, the more leverage you gain. Opportunities grow, weaknesses multiply, allies and enemies reveal themselves. And when you finally decide to act, it's not just a strike, it's a conclusion they cannot avoid, because you've shaped the conditions so completely that any outcome other than your victory is impossible. This is inevitability, and inevitability is the purest form of power. It's when your opponent no longer believes they can stop you, and instead starts deciding how they will lose. That's when you've already won, before you even move. But patience is not for the faint of heart. It demands that you choke down your ego, resist the urge to prove yourself too soon, and endure the discomfort of inaction when the world is screaming for you to act. Most people can't do it. That's why most people lose. Your strength in patience comes from preparation. While you wait, you build. You sharpen your mind, your skills, your resources. You become stronger in the shadows so that when your time comes, you're not ready. You're over-prepared. That's why your move feels inevitable, because in truth, it's been in motion the whole time, hidden beneath the stillness. Never mistake stillness for weakness. Stillness is the sheath, patience is the hand holding the hilt. And when the blade finally comes out, there will be no warning, only the realization that it was there all along. So remember this, the wolf doesn't chase every deer. It stalks the herd, watches from the tree line, learns their habits. And when it moves, it doesn't just catch one, it catches the one it's been waiting for all along. That's not luck, that's inevitability. Comment below, I move when the moment is mine, and mean it, because the man who owns his moment owns the game. Number 5, emotional detachment as strategic dominance. Power is not taken by those who feel the most. Power is taken by those who can feel nothing when the moment demands it. Emotional detachment is not the absence of humanity. It's the presence of control. It's the discipline to choose when, how, and if you feel anything at all. It's the art of becoming untouchable in a world that survives on reaction. The average man is a slave to what he feels in the moment. Anger controls his words. Excitement controls his judgment. Fear controls his decisions. He moves when he is provoked, speaks when he is baited, and acts when his emotions tell him to, even if the timing is wrong. That's why he loses. He's not a strategist, he's a puppet, and his strings are pulled by whatever emotional trigger the world decides to use on him today. You cannot become powerful if you are constantly being pulled into other people's games. Detachment is the severing of those strings. It's the refusal to be moved by anything that does not serve your objective. You learn to stand still while the room burns around you, calculating while others are consumed by panic. In those moments, you are the only one thinking clearly, and clarity is power. Understand this. Detachment doesn't mean you have no emotions. That's a myth. The truly dangerous man is not emotionless. He is emotion-controlled. He can summon aggression when it will intimidate, charm when it will seduce, warmth when it will disarm. And when emotions are a liability, he can drop them instantly, as if they never existed. The difference between a ruler and the ruled is that the ruler chooses what to feel. The The ruled merely reacts. Machiavelli understood this better than most. In The Prince, he wrote that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But what he left unsaid is that the key to balancing those two forces is detachment. When you are detached, you can inspire fear without cruelty and loyalty without neediness. You can decide when to be generous and when to be ruthless without either choice being clouded by guilt or pride. Detachment is also a weapon of unpredictability. When people cannot read your emotional state, they cannot anticipate your next move. They don't know if you'll retaliate instantly, strike months later, or do nothing at all. This uncertainty forces them to tread carefully around you. It makes them adjust their behavior in your presence, and that's power. Consider what happens when someone insults you. The weak man takes the bait. He reacts instantly, giving the attacker exactly what they wanted, a display of anger, proof that they can be manipulated. The detached man, on the other hand, does nothing. He gives no reaction. His face remains still, his voice calm, and in that silence, the aggressor begins to doubt themselves. Did it work? Did he even hear me? Why isn't he responding? That seed of uncertainty is worth more than any comeback. The same is true for praise. Most men become sloppy when praised. They drop their guard, they feel validated, and they stop playing the game. The detached man accepts praise with the same calm he accepts insult. He neither rises nor falls with other people's words. This keeps his mind sharp and his path steady. Detachment also protects you from the most dangerous kind of manipulation, emotional leverage. People will try to bind you with guilt, loyalty, romance, fear, or obligation. They'll try to make you feel something so strongly that you abandon your own strategy to serve theirs. But if you've mastered detachment, you can acknowledge the feeling without obeying it. You can care about someone deeply and still walk away if they threaten your purpose. That is the kind of control most men will never achieve. To develop detachment, you must first master self-observation. Every time you feel the impulse to react, ask, does this serve my objective? If the answer is no, you do nothing. Let the urge pass. Let the silence do the work. Over time, you will notice that fewer and fewer things can move you without your permission. That's when you become truly dangerous. You also need to practice emotional minimalism. Stop broadcasting every feeling you have. Stop explaining yourself. Stop reacting to every push and pull. The less you reveal, the more leverage you gain. In a world where people are addicted to overexpression, your restraint will make you stand out and make others curious, cautious, and respectful. Emotional detachment creates a psychological barrier around you. It makes people work harder to reach you, to impress you, to win you over. And the harder people have to work for your attention, the more they value it when they get it. This is scarcity, and scarcity is power. It also forces people to focus on your actions rather than your moods. They can't predict you based on a sigh, a smirk, or a flicker of irritation. They have to judge you by what you do, not what you feel. That puts you in control of the story they tell themselves about you. But here's the greatest advantage of all. Detachment allows you to walk away from anything. A deal, a relationship, an opportunity, even a fight. The detached man does not cling. He does not beg. He does not stay somewhere he no longer benefits. This terrifies people because most are bound by their attachments. They'll stay in bad deals, toxic relationships, and losing battles simply because they're emotionally tied to them. You, on the other hand, can cut the rope and walk away without hesitation. And that makes you ungovernable. Detachment is also the foundation of patience, which we spoke about earlier. You can only wait for the right moment if you are not emotionally invested in getting results right now. You can only resist provocation if you don't need the satisfaction of instant retaliation. Detachment and patience together create inevitability. When you master detachment, something strange happens. You no longer have to try to intimidate. People will feel it in your presence. They'll sense that you are unmoved by their attempts to influence you, and they'll begin to second-guess themselves before they even speak. You become the fixed point around which others must adjust. And in that position, you don't chase power. Power comes to you. In the end, emotional detachment is the silent crown. It is not flashy, it is not loud, but it is the mark of someone who cannot be broken, baited, or bound. It is the trait that allows you to think like a ruler, act like a strategist, and strike like a predator. And once you have it, no one can take it from you. Comment below. My emotions serve me. I serve nothing. If you can truly live by that, you are already more dangerous than most will ever be. Number 6. The art of controlled intimidation. Intimidation isn't about screaming, flexing, or trying to look dangerous. That's desperation disguised as strength. The loudest man in the room is rarely the most dangerous. He's the one hoping noise will hide his lack of control. Real power doesn't need to announce itself. It's felt. It's read in the air, in the way you move, in the way you don't move. True intimidation is control. Control over yourself, over the moment, and over the perception of everyone watching you. It's not about what you can do. It's about what they think you can do. The greatest fear you can put into someone is not a threat, but a question. What is he capable of? When that question lingers unanswered, their imagination will fill the gaps, and their imagination will always be more terrifying than reality. Controlled intimidation begins with stillness. You strip away all unnecessary motion. You don't fidget. You don't shift restlessly. You stand or sit as if time is irrelevant to you, as if you own the moment. Your stillness becomes a mirror for their nerves. The more they move, the more they feel the imbalance between you. The human mind reads calmness under pressure as superiority, and superiority breeds fear. Then comes silence. Silence is the oxygen of intimidation. You let it stretch just long enough to make them feel its weight. Most people can't handle that weight. They'll rush to fill it, blurting out information, weakening their position, or talking themselves into submission. You simply watch, unblinking, letting every second that passes remind them they are the one under evaluation, not you. And when you speak, you do it with precision. No filler words, no unnecessary explanations. Every sentence lands like a hammer, short, direct, unflinching. You speak like your words are final, not up for negotiation. This is not arrogance, it's authority. Authority comes from the certainty that you don't need to convince anyone of your position. You state it and they adjust. Machiavelli understood that perception shapes reality. If people believe you have the power to destroy them, they will act as if you already can. You don't have to display your full capability. In fact, you shouldn't. You let them imagine the rest. The fear of the unknown is the oldest and most reliable form of control. Controlled intimidation is not constant. If you walk around trying to intimidate everyone, you become predictable, and predictability kills effectiveness. Power tools are not for constant use. They are for decisive moments. You deploy intimidation strategically in negotiations, in confrontations, when dominance must be established without escalating into chaos. When used rarely, it becomes unforgettable. It's also about restraint. The amateur uses intimidation to overcompensate. The master uses it to remove resistance before it begins. You can kill a deal by overplaying your presence, or you can make the other side fold before they even sit down by letting them feel the inevitability of your control. This is not about ego, this is about utility. Body language is key. Controlled intimidation is built in posture, eye contact, and stillness under pressure. You never shrink your frame. You hold your space unapologetically. You meet eyes without blinking and without aggression. Just calm, steady focus. Aggressive staring is a challenge. Steady eye contact is dominance. Your voice is another weapon. You keep it low, steady, and unhurried. Never let urgency enter your tone. Urgency suggests you need the situation to go a certain way. Calmness suggests you already know how it will go. People trust and fear the man who sounds like he's already certain of the outcome. But here's where most get it wrong. Intimidation is not always about fear of violence. In modern power dynamics, physical threat is rarely necessary. The more sophisticated form is psychological intimidation, the fear of being outmaneuvered, outsmarted, or exposed. It's the dread of realizing they're not in control of the game. That dread will keep them cautious far longer than any threat of force. You build this by being unreadable. You reveal nothing of your true thoughts unless revealing them serves you. You keep your motives layered so that no one is ever entirely sure what you want. You control your emotional output so that they cannot gauge your reaction to events. The less they know, the more they imagine. And the more they imagine, the more they overestimate your reach. In negotiation, controlled intimidation makes the other side fight their own mind. They start making concessions before you even ask, simply to get a sense of stability back. In conflict, it makes the aggressor reconsider if the risk is worth it, because they can't calculate what you'll do in response. In leadership, it makes people follow you because they'd rather have your certainty on their side than against them. Remember this, you do not intimidate to feel powerful. You intimidate to shape the battlefield before the first move. Every predator knows that the easiest hunt is the one where the prey is already frozen in fear. Deploying controlled intimidation requires patience. You never rush to win a moment. You let the silence work. You let their mind run. And then, when you do move, the contrast between your stillness and your action makes the impact even sharper. Most importantly, you never lose control of yourself while using this tool. If they sense your intimidation is driven by ego or insecurity, it loses its power instantly. The strongest intimidation is detached. It is surgical. It has no emotional heat, only cold certainty. That's why the man who intimidates best is the man who could destroy you, but doesn't. The threat is more powerful than the act. As soon as the act is done, the mystery is gone. A sword hanging over your head is more terrifying than one already swung. Controlled intimidation is about presence. It's about becoming the fixed point in the room, the reference everyone measures themselves against. You don't chase their attention orbits you. You don't raise your voice. They lean in to hear you. You don't rush to fill the silence. They start talking faster just to escape it. That's when you know you've taken control without lifting a finger. Comment below. My presence speaks before I do. If you can master that, you won't need to shout, threaten, or posture. The air will do it for you. Number 7. Turning observation into a weapon. Observation is the oldest weapon in the world and the most underestimated. Before the first blade was forged, before the first wall was built, power belonged to the man who saw what others missed. He could predict danger before it struck, exploit opportunity before anyone else noticed, and turn the smallest details into decisive advantages. In every era, from the courts of kings to the boardrooms of today, the most dangerous man has never been the loudest. He's been the one quietly watching. Most men look, but they don't see. They hear, but they don't listen. They take in information without processing it, distracted by their own voice, their own thoughts, their own need to be seen. The result? They miss the very tells, patterns, and openings that would give them power. The man who observes with intent plays a different game entirely. He doesn't just watch people, he reads them. Every movement, every pause, every subtle change in tone is a line in their biography. The way someone shakes your hand reveals whether they are trying to dominate or defer. The way their eyes move tells you where their attention really lies. The way they choose their words tells you which subjects they want to avoid. Observation is the discipline of connecting these dots until they form a pattern. Anyone can fake strength in a single moment, but no one can fake it forever. Under sustained observation, cracks appear. Reactions become predictable. Once you know the pattern, you know where the weak points are, and you can decide exactly when to apply pressure. Machiavelli understood this principle better than most. In The Prince, he implied that the ruler who knows his people's ambitions, fears, and habits can rule with fewer soldiers and less bloodshed. Why? Because knowledge is leverage, and leverage allows you to move mountains with the push of a finger. A man who understands another man's desires can lead him without force. A man who knows another man's fears can control him without threats. Observation isn't passive, it's active collection. You don't just see, you analyze, you take mental notes. You remember who speaks first in meetings, who interrupts, who stays quiet but watches everyone else. You remember who is consistent and who bends under pressure. Every small fact becomes part of a larger map, and the larger the map, the easier it is to navigate or manipulate the terrain. One of the most powerful aspects of observation is the ability to notice what isn't there. Absence speaks as loudly as presence. When someone avoids a topic, there's a reason. When they fail to follow a habit they usually keep, there's a reason. Silence, hesitation, deflection. These are all signals if you're paying attention. The average person misses them entirely. The observer hears them loud and clear. You also understand that the less you speak, the more others reveal. Nature abhors a vacuum, and in conversation, silence is that vacuum. Most people are uncomfortable with it. They will fill it with words, and those words will betray their inner state. You let them believe they're in control of the conversation, but in reality, you're just widening the gap for them to step into. Observation also extends beyond individuals. You read environments. You note where people choose to sit, who they stand near, who they avoid, which faces light up when certain names are mentioned. You watch the flow of interaction in a room the way a general watches troop movements on a battlefield. Every movement reveals alliances, rivalries, hierarchies. The key to turning observation into a weapon is secrecy. Never reveal the full extent of what you've noticed. If people realize you're studying them, they'll alter their behavior, hide their tells, and cover their weaknesses. Let them think you're distracted. Let them underestimate your attention. You don't need credit for seeing. You need results from what you've seen. And when you finally act on the information you've gathered, do it so precisely that it feels to them like you struck from nowhere. In reality, you've been preparing for weeks, months, maybe even years. That's the predator's patience, moving only when the outcome is inevitable. There's another layer here. Observation sharpens your intuition. At first, you consciously connect the dots. Over time, you begin to read situations almost instantly. You can walk into a room and sense tension without a word being spoken. You can detect when someone's confidence is real or just armor they're trying to hold together. This instinct isn't magic. It's the byproduct of constant, focused observation. Observation also gives you the advantage of choice. If you know someone's weakness, you can decide whether to exploit it, protect it, or simply hold it in reserve as leverage. You're no longer reacting blindly, you're moving with precision. And precision wins wars without fighting them. Remember, information is a form of currency. The more you collect without spending, the wealthier you become. Most people waste their information capital by revealing it too soon. You don't. You bank it. You invest it. And when you finally spend it, you make sure the return is exponential. One of the deadliest applications of observation is using it to control conversations without appearing to. By knowing someone's triggers, ambitions, and fears, you can subtly guide them toward decisions they think are their own. You don't push, you nudge, You drop the right word at the right moment, and they walk exactly where you wanted them to go. Observation is also your shield. If you're reading the room, you see threats before they materialize. You notice who's watching you too closely. You see alliances forming before they announce themselves. You spot betrayals in the making before they strike. This lets you act preemptively, either to neutralize the threat or to turn it into an advantage. But here's the final rule. Observation is worthless without discipline. If you collect information but let your emotions dictate your actions, you will waste your advantage. The information you gather must be processed through a cold, strategic lens. Otherwise, you're just another gossip, and gossip has no power. When done correctly, observation makes you the quietest man in the room and the most informed. It makes people underestimate you until it's too late. It lets you move like a ghost, unseen until the moment you choose to be noticed. And by then, it's not a fair fight anymore. Remember this. The predator that sees first decides when the hunt begins. The prey may think they're safe, but their fate was sealed the moment they stepped into the observer's sightline. Comment below, I collect before I strike. If you live by that, you're already moving like a strategist in a world of amateurs. Number 8, the untouchable blueprint. An untouchable man is not born, he is built, piece by piece, layer by layer, decision by decision. Every part of him is deliberate, engineered through discipline, sharpened through experience, and reinforced by unshakable self-control. There is no randomness here. There is no luck. There is only design. Most men try to be untouchable by focusing on one trait. Maybe they try to be confident or strong or respected. But one trait alone is fragile. Break it, and the whole facade crumbles. True untouchability comes when every part of you works together like gears in a machine. Silence, patience, detachment, intimidation, and observation. These are not isolated tactics. They are interconnected forces, each feeding the next, each protecting the others. Silence is the first layer. It hides your strategy. It forces people to guess. When they guess, they project. And when they project, they reveal more about themselves than you ever reveal about yourself. Your silence is the fog that blinds their vision while you move freely behind it. Every unnecessary word you don't speak is a secret they'll never have. And in the game of power, secrets are armor. Patience is the second layer. Silence protects your intentions, but patience makes them inevitable. You don't rush, you don't chase, you wait. And in waiting, you force others to act first. Acting first means revealing their position, exposing their weaknesses, and committing to a path they can't retreat from. You let them set the stage for their own defeat while you watch from the shadows. Detachment is the third layer. It is the removal of emotional chains. You are not tied to being liked, feared, accepted, or understood. You can step away from any situation, any person, any opportunity without flinching. This makes you unpredictable because people expect others to be controlled by feelings, by pride, by validation. When you're not, you become a ghost in the game, visible when you choose, gone when it benefits you, immune to the usual strings that pull men around like puppets. Controlled intimidation is the fourth layer. It is the silent field you project, the presence that makes people adjust themselves before they even speak to you. You don't need to bark or posture. You don't need to prove your strength. Your calmness under pressure, your unhurried movements, your steady voice, all suggest a man who knows exactly what he's capable of. And the most dangerous part? You never show the full extent of that capability. You let their imagination do the work. The unknown will always terrify more than the known. Observation is the final layer, the eyes that see everything. While silence, patience, and detachment keep you hidden, observation keeps you informed. You study without announcing you're studying. You collect data the way a predator collects the scent of its prey. You note patterns, flaws, tells, and habits, and you do nothing with this information until the exact moment it gives you the decisive advantage. Individually, these traits are powerful. Together, they are unstoppable. Here's why. Silence feeds observation. The less you talk, the more they reveal. Observation strengthens patience. The more you see, the more confident you are in waiting. Patience empowers detachment. If you can wait, you are never desperate, and desperation is the death of control. Detachment magnifies controlled intimidation. A man who wants nothing is a man others fear, because they can't bargain with him or threaten him. Controlled intimidation reinforces silence. When your presence alone unsettles people, you don't need to explain yourself. It becomes a closed loop of power, self-sustaining, self-protecting. When all 5 traits are integrated, you become something rare. A man who doesn't need to chase power because power gravitates toward him. Opportunities come to you because people respect your discipline. Allies seek you because they trust your composure. Enemies hesitate because they can't calculate the risk. An untouchable man doesn't waste energy on petty battles. He chooses his wars carefully. He knows that power is not about constant motion. It's about decisive motion. Every move you make should be worth the cost, and you only pay when the return is undeniable. This is why the untouchable man often looks inactive to outsiders. They mistake his restraint for idleness. They don't understand that his stillness is loaded with potential energy, ready to be unleashed at the perfect moment. And when that moment comes, his strike is absolute. There is no half measure, no hesitation, no room for reversal. Because he has waited, observed, and calculated, his move lands with surgical precision. The opponent doesn't just lose. They realize they were losing long before they even knew they were in a game. The Machiavellian truth is this: control matters more than conquest. Any fool can win once by accident or brute force. But to win repeatedly, you must shape the environment, dictate the tempo, and manipulate the conditions before the game even starts. That's what this blueprint does. It allows you to set the board in such a way that the only possible outcome is the one you've already chosen. The untouchable man doesn't care about proving himself. He cares about positioning himself. He doesn't fight for attention. He makes attention fight for him. He doesn't demand respect. He moves in a way that makes disrespect impossible. And because he's not tied to ego, he's free to adapt, pivot, and evolve while others remain trapped in the image they're trying to protect. If you live like this, you stop being a piece on the board. You become the one who moves the pieces. You are no longer reacting to the game. You are the game. And when you are the game, no one can beat you, because no one else understands the rules except you. This is the state you must build toward. Slowly, deliberately, with relentless consistency. Every day, you refine your silence. Every day, you strengthen your patience. Every day, you detach just a little more from the things that can control other men. Every day, you sharpen your intimidation until it's subtle enough to be felt without being seen. Every day, you train your observation until nothing escapes your notice. Over time, you stop having to think about these traits. They simply become who you are. And when that happens, you are no longer just untouchable. You are inevitable. Comment below, "I am the game, not a piece in it." If you can say that without doubt and back it with action, you have already stepped into the upper tier of power. Number 9, the closing strike. Power is not given. It's taken, piece by piece, in silence, in patience, in the moments no one else notices. You've learned the blueprint. Now it's yours to live. Most will hear these words and nod, then return to the noise. A few will hear them and vanish into the shadows to sharpen themselves until the world feels their presence without ever seeing their hand. Be one of the few. Strip away the need to be seen. Build in private. Move in silence. Wait for your moment, and when it comes, take it so completely that no one dares to challenge you again. Every room you walk into, remember, you are not there to be accepted. You are there to observe, to position, to command without needing to speak. That is how you become untouchable. Comment below, I move in silence and the world adjusts. I want to see who's ready to join the few who rule quietly. Like this video, subscribe to Psygrythm and turn on notifications, because the next lesson might be the one that makes you unstoppable.